Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are all doing amazing. This is my third Nommy Talks now, and I was quite excited about this one because I feel like this is something that not a lot of people speak about, or like it's not a topic that's covered a lot. So I was basically editing a vlog that I'd made before holiday, and I just could tell that I just wasn't myself. I was stressed, I was running around and overworking myself, and at the same time I was trying to vlog and edit and do all this crazy stuff. This was just before I went on holiday, so I was trying to pack as well, and I just wasn't myself in the vlogs. I was watching it like, this is not Nommy, like this is not you. And I was speaking to my mum and she was like, you're overworking yourself. I know you're going on holiday, but can you just have like a couple of days to rest? And I was like, she's literally like what is it? Put the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. That's what I'm going with. That sounds right to me. But she was right. I was overworking myself. I got really ill. My body was just like, no, not doing it anymore. I got baby brain. I could not think, I could not type anything, I couldn't even have Zoom calls because I was just like, I wasn't on job like I normally am, and I had just burnt myself out completely. And I think it's a very toxic kind of state and like mindset to be in, especially when you don't have people like, for example, like I did have my mum, I did have my friends that were like, rest, like my friends sent me care packages, my mum was always checking on me, everyone was like, you okay? Like all my girls always checking on me, what are you doing today, you okay? Like rest, stay at home, literally don't even look at your phone, like just stay at home and watch, like that's it, just eat and watch. And it has happened a couple of times, especially I think it's the toxic mindset that like I'm going away so everything needs to be sorted and everything needs to be done, and you just overdo it. Because it has happened a couple of times where I've got really ill before holiday because I've overworked myself, and it's a horrible feeling. And I think it was even more horrible when I sat there and I could actually see the effect of it, or like see how it actually looked on me, and it was just like, ugh, like yuck, like stress does not suit you. Even though it's something that I feel like you can't really control, sometimes you can't really help, like you just naturally fall into this pattern of overworking, or you're thinking it's your routine, and I definitely did that. I definitely got into that like cycle. And I think one thing that we have to remember is that just because you're always doing something, it doesn't mean that it's productive. And when I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, I just had to sit and think to myself, like, when you're doing this and when you're doing that, because I couldn't give everything 100% effort because there was always something else on my mind, or I was tired, or I was thinking about whatever else there is to do. So when I'm doing these things and I think I'm being productive, because I'm not giving it 100%, it just was nothing. It just meant nothing. So as soon as I heard that quote, I don't know where I heard it. I think it was like a TikToker. I'm pretty sure her like name's Leisha, like Life of Leisha, or like something. I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, being busy all the time does not mean that you're being productive. And once I heard that, I realised how important it was to have time just to chill and like just breathe and just, you know, unwind and just not be working. And I feel like no one looks at you any less when you take a break. So there's some bad mind people out there that will be like, you need to be on job 24/7. I'm so sorry, unpopular opinion, but I'm never ever going to agree with the people that say like, you spent 8 hours sleeping and a millionaire spent 4 hours sleeping and 4 hours working. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of millionaires that will sleep for 8 hours, 10 hours, however long they need to sleep for. And I feel like some bad mind people out there will make you feel like if you spend a minute not working or not doing something productive, you're a failure. you're never going to make it. And that's such a toxic thing that I think is in our generation, and like that we see on like social media and everything, that I didn't even realise it got ingrained into me, like, and I didn't even notice. And so I was thinking, you always need to be doing something. You can't be wasting an hour of your day watching a Netflix show. You can't be doing this. You need to be doing something all the time, which was so toxic. And like I said, you don't realise it until you see it. And if I never made that vlog, I don't think I would have seen it to the extent that I saw it, and it just hit me like, wow, you need to stop. Obviously, it's something that we can't really control very well, but I do feel like there are things that you can do to sort of lower the chances of you burning out. And I know once it happens, it sort of just happens. And once you get like overwhelmed with work, it just, there's nothing that you can do about it. But I think a few things that helped me to like, that I'm going to start implementing, and I've had this conversation like before, and I've been in this place before, and I've been like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I just didn't do it, and I don't know why. I don't know why I just didn't do it. But now I have to be disciplining myself enough to be like, you're gonna go to this point, so just stop now. A couple of things is, I know it, like I've said it, I'm pretty sure I've said it before on Nommy Talks, but for me, journaling. And when I feel like I'm not doing enough, if I look back, like the other day, I was looking at my journal, and it was from first year of uni, and I was like thinking about starting Scenes by NM, and in it was like, well, I want to be in like a year's time, or something like that, or 5 years or something like that. And I was like, one of the things was like, I want to have NM events up and running, and I want to have clients in London and Surrey. And I looked at that and I was like, you did that. And that made me feel so happy. Obviously it's not NM events anymore, Scenes by NM, but I was so happy, and I thought, you have worked hard and you've done that. So, you know, journaling allows you to take a step back, look at where you were, where you've come, how hard you've worked, and it's physical and it's right there. I feel like people be like, yeah, and I just look at how successful, you know, how many followers I've got, or how much money I've made, and da-da-da. But those numbers at the end of the day, as much as you don't realise, you look at that and think, how can I make that more? Your subconscious is like, how can I make that more? You're not going to sit there and be like, yes. Do you know what I mean? Especially if it's not a number that you want to see. You know, if you see 200 followers and you want like 50k, you're going to be like, how can I get more? Not, you've got 200 followers, you've done that. Do you know what I mean? So that's one thing, a big thing for me, is journaling. And I feel like it's just like letting your emotions out, and no one's judging you. It's literally between you and God, and that's all. That's all that whatever he wants to say to you from that, he'll say it to you, and you don't have to hear it from anyone else. So, yes, journaling, I feel like is something that you should all just start to try to do. Give it a go and see how it goes. I know everyone thinks it's all like, you know, like wishy-washy and whatever, but honestly, this sort of coping mechanism for me might be, I know not everyone might be able to put it to use, put it to practice, but this is what I do when I feel like I'm getting to that point as well. I leave it to God. I say that as if it's easy. I think as much faith as you have, leaving situations, or like trusting that God has even though you're in the deepest trenches, like not even World War II trenches, I don't even know what war trenches, but when you're in the trenches and you're like, I don't know what to do, and having the utmost faith and trust in God can be so hard, because it's just like, why have you put me in this situation? But then you need to like sit down and take time to think like, there's a plan, and there is, you'll get out of this little rut. You always will, because God doesn't want you to be in this headspace. He doesn't want you to be in this mindset all the time. So it's only for the time being, and there's a reason. Like, you will see the reason. I can sit here and I feel like I don't think that I've been through a difficult time in my life and then looked back and thought, I wish that didn't happen. Because as much, like I said, as much as you're in the trenches, and it takes time to figure it out. It takes so much time. But once I got to the point where I was like, now I know why you put me through that. Like, thanks. Like sometimes I feel like God could come and just be like, look, next time don't do this. Instead of putting you through, everything that you could possibly go through. But that's something that helped me, that I think helps me, is just sort of sitting there, getting closer to God, speaking to God, letting him know like what it is that I'm feeling. And like, obviously he knows these things, but I feel like trusting him and thinking, do you know what, there's something bigger to this. Like, you're going through this for a reason, and he knows why, and you will find out why, helps me all the time. And I feel like for other religions, maybe it could be the same thing. You got gods, or if you don't believe at all, then I don't know, the universe putting you through certain things for a reason, So, like I said, obviously you can take that how you want and like spin it to suit whatever you believe. But for me, that's what I think. I think just sitting down and be like, big man, why? But then, yeah, trusting him as a whole, I think helps a lot in those kind of situations. So, yeah, that's when I'll be firm foundation. Really is firm foundation in when I'm going through that, because at that point in time I feel like it's just like I need you to make sense of all of this, and he will. That's what you have to trust, that he will. Another thing that I feel like helped me, or something that I said that I will do once I feel like I'm getting to that point again, is speaking to people. Speak to your friends, because like, for example, Chelsea, who I live with, she wouldn't be able to see how it was affecting me until I was literally ill. I was so ill, I was bedbound, and she was like, okay, I'm going to take a couple of days off work just to look after you, because this isn't normal. But before that point, if I'd said to her, look, I'm so overwhelmed, I feel so stressed and I can't turn my brain off, and she would have sat there and been like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. I could speak to all my friends that are at home and been like, guys, I feel really like overwhelmed, I feel like, everything is just too much, and they would have done something. Even my mum, I think she realised at a point where it was like, it was too late. My body, I was already ill, I was already like, I couldn't do anything. There was, it was too late. And I'm not saying like you need to go and be like to everyone, I'm upset. But if you can see yourself getting to a point where it's sort of detrimental to everything else, just speaking to close people will do the world of difference. Like, friends at home will literally be like, okay, we're going to have a day out in London, we're going to, do this, do that, go out for dinner, get dressed up, look all cute. And that does a lot more for you than you think. And I feel like people always like, oh, no one was checking on me. No one asked me how I was, and no one was like, oh, you weren't active on Instagram, you weren't active on Snapchat, are you okay? Because at the end of the day, it's hard to see these things. You have to communicate. People might realise, yeah, but you're too busy for people to see that, and people are also busy doing their own thing as well. So you have to communicate with them. And as much as you get angry with people for not doing that, I feel like the only point in time you can get angry is if you tell them and there's no action from it. There's not one person in my life right now that I was like to that I feel like I'm just doing too much, that didn't sit down and say, Nommy, you need to rest. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want us to go out? Do you want to go do this? Do you want us to come and have a movie day? Do you want us to, that would just help. Even mum would be like, come home, just spend a couple of days with me, chill, And then she knows London is like my work zone. And I think that is very important, just communicating exactly how you feel and remembering that you don't always have to be on top of everything. You don't. You can, make mistakes, you can fall behind a bit, you can, not be on top form. All that matters is that you'll get back up there at some point, but it's okay to like fall, a little bit. It's okay to take it down a notch. And that was something that took a while to like wire into my brain. But once I did, I think it was like the best thing that I could have done for myself. I did a little question thing on Instagram and I was asking everyone how they deal with burnout, and I got some interesting answers. I got some from some friends in music. They said that one of my friends in particular was like, he steps out of the studio, disconnects from music as a whole, even though it is his therapy and it is his love. He disconnects from that as a whole and goes for a walk in a park or wherever, so he can hear the birds, he can hear the wind, he can hear, all the other sounds around him. And he was like, that's what helps me, just like being away from music as a whole and just appreciating the silence and sounds of nature. So that's, I feel like anyone can use that, just going for a walk, or I like to go for a jog, being outside, being in nature, getting fresh air, being around something different, Someone else said that reading helps them when they burn out. I do enjoy reading and I do love reading, but I think when I burn out, my brain is so mushy that what I'm reading is literally like gibberish. So when I'm reading, I like to take it in, so I feel like when I burn out, I just would rather not read. And I feel like at that point, that little space in time, I just feel like I don't have the time to read. So, but that is a good like coping mechanism for burnout as well. A lot of people said exercise actually. A lot of people said exercise, and the boost that you get after doing a really good workout is crazy. So I hear that one, I really do. And my auntie said cooking. She said that like just cooking a good, hearty, wholesome meal, and like sitting there and being like, and sometimes like hosting like dinner parties and just cooking for a group of people, and then just having like a chit chat and just chilling like with her girls and stuff. So I hear that one because we have had quite a few dinner parties and it's been so wholesome, just eating together, drinking good wine, or whatever it is, and just having like a little chit chat. And it's just just moments that you really need in life. But I do feel like there's so many different things that could help different people. It's just finding what works for you, and I just hope everyone finds it before they actually burn out, so they don't have to get to the point where they burn out. But one thing to remember that might help you to stop getting to that point is that time is so precious. And all those days that I think this time really hit me because I was ill for a week, maybe a week and a half, and for like 5 of those days I could not get out of bed. I had migraines, I had like literally my whole body was just aching, like it was just aching. I think it was just longing for a break, longing for just some time to relax. So I think if everyone finds something that helps them get to that point, and this is what I was saying, like time is so precious. If I didn't let myself get to that point, I wouldn't have wasted, a week and a half in the house, in bed, because I was just too ill to go out. I was too ill to do what I needed to do. So yeah, I think just make sure that you find your thing before you actually burn out. That's the solution. That is the end of my Nommy talks, and like I always say, if you feel like you're going through this and you want to have like a little chit chat, then feel free to message me on whatever, and just let me know, and I can do that. I'm not a therapist, not a qualified psychologist, but I am still here to speak to and listen and give the advice and help that I can. So yeah, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was I feel like it was a bit of an emotional one because I couldn't believe the state that I was in. I feel like it sounds so dramatic, but when, you know, like even if I showed my close friends that vlog, they'd be like, what was going on? Like, you know, that just wasn't you. So that's what hit me, and that's when I thought, okay, you need to talk about this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, enjoyed that Nommy talks, and I will see you guys very soon with another Nommy talks in a different environment, because we're leaving. Oh, I'm leaving this house that I've been in for about 2 years now, and everyone's emotions, like, it's very emotional. But yeah, Nommy talks setting will be changing, but I'm excited for, you know, what's to come for my channel and what's to come for Nommy talks. So yeah, I'll catch you guys very soon. Get yourself a nice glass of wine. Like, I'm always drinking tea, and I was like, today I'm gonna put on my pyjamas, my matching pyjamas, you know, feel good, look good. Get yourself a wine, don't make a tea. Fancy a wine, glass of rosé. So yeah, do the same, non-alcoholic, you know, sparkling, you know, or alcoholic, whatever. You speak yourself a beverage that you like. See you guys.